In tonight's video we're going across the Irish Sea because we're off to Ireland. Well, I think Ireland was voted again last year as Angling Holiday Destination of the Year. I think it's been a massive breath of fresh air for a lot of people. My first taste of going over there was in 1991, believe it or not. It was for the Home International, fishing in the England team. Same team as Will Raisin, so I'm showing my age there, aren't I? But we were going over there fishing with Blue Mermaid Joker. It was on the Grand Canal at Edenderry. Completely different sort of fishing from what we go over there for now anyway. So I haven't been over there much. I've only been going about 4 years to Ireland. I'm by no means an expert, but a lot of people have asked me about my experiences over there. I've only fished about 2 or 3 different festivals. I've fished the World Pairs for the last 4 or 5 years, I think it is, and so I've had some experience over there, but I know a lot of you guys haven't had any experience. And whilst you've seen festivals advertised and that sort of thing, a lot of you are a little bit kind of unsure about how it actually all works, how you put it all together, and how you actually get over there and compete in these festivals. So this video is just to answer a few of those questions about my experiences of Ireland so far. Firstly, I've just got to tell you that, you know, the first time I ever went over there was for the Mahon's Festival. Fished that, went over there with, stayed with Will Freeman and Andy Leathers, and they kind of really took me under the wing a little bit and introduced me into Ireland and the style of fishing over there. That was in the north. My second real taster was down at Lake Inniscarra, down in the south, and there are loads of festivals there every year. I mean, this is the programme for this year. I'll put all these up at the end of the video for you so you can study them. Loads of festivals going on, and to be honest, whilst I really enjoyed going down to Inniscarra, I was very much kind of unfinished business. I was still trying to get to grips with the style of fishing over there, so I just haven't had a chance to go back there for probably the last 3 years. I'd love to get back down there but obviously around my job and everything else I just can't do it. But yeah, I'd really love to get back down there, so that's one that I would strongly recommend going. There's loads of festivals, as you can see down there, all sorts, 3 days, there's week-long matches, all sorts, feeder matches, there's all sorts, but I'll put that up at the end of the video for you. And obviously my next biggest experience has always been the World Pairs. Now the great thing about the World Pairs is, whilst it's fished over 5 days, you're actually fishing 5 different venues. There's a little bit of travelling involved, as you'd expect, and that can be a massive learning curve, because I know a lot of you guys that watch these videos are like me. You want to improve your game, you want to up your game, and you're only really going to do that by gaining experience on the bank and fishing events like this. The World Pairs is a perfect opportunity for that. So that's been my biggest learning curve as regards Irish fishing. Okay, so let's talk about tattle. A lot of people have asked about this, because obviously people look at the cost of going to Ireland. They don't really want to obviously spend money in these events if they're not actually going to go over there equipped. And whilst you look at, there's a wide range of venues, you could quite easily just take everything and the kitchen sink. But for me, a lot of the kit is virtually very, very similar across a lot of the different venues. So I'll just break these down nice and simply, just to tell you exactly the kind of kit that I've used over the last few times I've been. Right, so the number one bit of kit for me while I've been going over there is a 12-foot feeder rod. There are, areas where you might need an 11-foot rod, and obviously you'll need a bigger rod than that as well. But the rods and the length of rod that I use most over there has been a 12-foot rod, and that's been coupled with a 5,000 reel. It's the same sort of kit that I use at places like Southfield and that sort of thing, and that'll kind of help you just kind of fish the vast majority of the venues and the pegs that you're going to draw over there. Obviously, as you can appreciate, sometimes you might be needing to cast a long way. I haven't really come across that scenario in all the times I've been going. The usual ranges I've been fishing has been 40, 50 sort of meters, 60 meters max. I'm not saying that you won't have to cast further than that, you will, and I heard that there were people going to pegs that I'd fished in last year's World Pairs who'd cast further than me and caught better, so maybe I didn't do that quite right, but even then they're only casting about 70 meters max. But that can be achievable with a 13-foot rod, just like what we use over here in England. Your hooks need to be robust. There's loads of different patterns on there, lots of different anglers, just stick to their own. Barbed patterns are the best, and you're going to need them in large size hooks. You're going to need 10s, 12s and 14s. They're the real main sizes that we use, and you're generally fishing with thicker hook lengths as well. You're fishing 017, 018, 019, and a lot of anglers that do really well over there fishing and stronger than that. They're wild venues, they're snags, and they're wild fish as well, so you generally find that finding down in hooks and hook length doesn't really make much of a difference. A lot of people ask me if they need a platform to go over there. Having a platform is a massive advantage, of course it is, especially on some of these venues where the vast majority of venues over there you've got to wade out in some shape or form. They're natural venues and it can be shallow close in, so you've got to go out in the water. Now, I don't carry a platform, but that's partly because the box that I use is incredibly sturdy when the legs are fully extended out anyway. So, and I'm obviously not a big lad, but it's a 6-legged box, and it's a 36mm legs, and that is incredibly sturdy. And obviously, because you sat out in the water, you've got to think about all your attachments. I always use a 4-meter river keep net, one with some nice big holes in, because the wind can be, well, you can imagine, you've probably seen videos and stuff, the wild natural venues, when you get to your peg there could be miles and miles of water straight out in front of you, so when that wind's come in, obviously you can get battered with waves, so sometimes having a platform can get you up above those waves when it's really, really severe. The other bits you need to think about are the attachments. By its very nature, because you're out in the water, you've got to have all your little attachments like your side trays, a hook for your ground bait ball, all that sort of thing, roosts. Because you're out in the water, you're going to have either your top kits or your spare feeder rod set up on a roost. So there's all those attachments to think about as well. But like I say, you can use the same kit over there than what you use over here in England. Okay, the style of fishing. Now this is something that is really such a big draw to people in Ireland. The fish that you're fishing for are wild. They are wild fish, and quite often you can be sat there for 2 hours without a bite, and it's not because the fish are just a little bit cagey or not really feeding. Sometimes it's just because they're not there, and that can quite often be the case. And when they're not there, they're not there. There's nothing you can do. But you can find that all of a sudden the peg will switch on like that, and you can suddenly be into a fishing chuck for 2 hours. The wild fish, they're moving around these lochs and these rivers, and they're just looking for food, so when they do arrive they can just feed unbelievably aggressively, and that's something that it took me a while to get used to. And so you often find that it's a very attacking approach, and that's what a lot of people love about Ireland. You can just go there, you just attack it, and when those fish are in your peg, just catch them as quick as you possibly can, because all the competitions in Ireland are all done on accumulative weight. So when the fish are there, you've got to make the most of it. Okay, travel. Now this is something that a lot of people don't really know about, purely because they know they can book onto these matches, they see the weights and see the kind of kit that people are using, but as regards the logistics of getting there and all that sort of stuff, and booking digs and getting to the venues, they don't really see that side of things. So the best thing I can do is, just from my experience, what I'm going to do is quickly just outline a typical trip to Ireland. And I'm going to use the World Pairs as an example, because myself and Richie Hull travel together, and most people that travel over there travel with someone else. So here's just a quick logistical plan about a typical trip of ours to Ireland. Well, I'm based in Sheffield, that's where I live, and we always go from Holyhead. So it's basically 170 miles from where I live to Holyhead. Nice simple drive, 170 miles there. What I tend to do is leave my van there. I meet Richie Hull, my partner there, meet him there. I'll load all my kit into his van, and then I will leave my van in the long stay car park there at Holyhead, and then we simply go in, check in and get on the ferry. Two different sorts of ferries going over there from Holyhead, the ones that I've ever travelled on. There's one that's the slower ferry, It takes about 4 hours, I think it is. And then there's another one which we call the fast ferry, simple as that, and that takes 2 hours. Those ferries take us into Dublin, and then we obviously drive from there straight to our digs. Usually this is, like I say, for the World Pairs, so it takes us about 2 hours, I think it is, generally, with a stop as well, just to get to the digs, and that's when we can unload the van and just kind of get settled in. Once we're at the digs, we generally get there on the Saturday afternoon. It's just a case of unloading the van, getting all our kit into the bait sheds, because most of the digs over there, you need somewhere to store all your bait. A lot of them have got barns and fridges and all that sort of stuff, catering for the anglers. So Saturday afternoon's all about that. Just unload the kit, obviously get clothes and everything into the digs, and just kind of settle in and just have a bit of a chill out. Sometimes, if we get there early enough, we might go for a little drive around one or two of the venues if there's an open match on, and just kind of get a feel for the venue and see how it's fishing. Then on the Sunday, there's usually an open match, and that really is, loads of the competitors that are going to be fishing the World Pairs fish the open match, just so they can get a bit of a feel for the venue, check them out, see if there's any new venues, and that's run as an open match in its own right, and we always fish that. Then Sunday evening is the draw. We all head off to the headquarters, wherever that might be, where we get there, we register and we pay on for the competition. That is where you also do your draw for the rotation. You'll be handed a nice little lanyard like that, and I don't know if you'll see if that's going to focus on there properly for you. What you do on Sunday night, you draw out for your pair draw, and that will give you your rotation for the week. Sunday night's a great night because that's when you get to see everybody who's fishing the competition. They've all got to be there to do the draw, because if you end up in a different rotation from some of those people, which you inevitably will, you won't see them all week until the Friday evening at the presentation. So it's a really nice buzz, that, because everyone's really up for it, and there's obviously the excitement about knowing which draw, what rotation you're going to get, and obviously there's always speculation about what the best rotation is. So Sunday night's a great night just to get a feel for it, see who's there, and you get to see a lot of people you haven't seen all year. And then Monday, you're obviously straight into it. Monday morning, we're usually up really early, mixing the ground bait, getting ready and that sort of stuff, have a bit of breakfast, and then head off to the draw, wherever that might be. And then obviously we travel together, so we can have like a van draw where the two venues that we can potentially draw are going to be close together, so that obviously cuts down on travelling. So if Richie's first, we'll drive to Richie's section, I'll take the van from there, and then I'll go onto my section and fish the match, and then pick him up on the way back. But there's no presentation every evening, so what happens is, as soon as you've picked each other up, you can just go and grab some food on the way back and just head back to the digs. It's a long week, it's a tiring week, they are long days, and obviously if the weather's a bit rough as well, it can really take its toll on you. So by the time you get back to the digs, you quite often find that you just have something to eat and you're ready to just fall asleep. But because it's such a big competition, you might have a bit of prep to do or anything, so we kind of do that, and it quite often means bed early. And that's the routine then for the week, all the way through the week. Obviously every evening on Facebook, the organisers of the World Pairs do a fantastic job of getting the results on every evening, so you can see where all the other sections are fished, you can see who the leaders are and all that sort of thing, and obviously from that point forward then you can see how the venue that you're going to tomorrow has fished, so you can kind of get your head right, have a chat with your partner about tactics and where you want to draw and all that sort of stuff, making any last minute alterations to your kit that you might need to do, and that's it. That's the routine right the way through till Friday. And then on Friday, hopefully you're still in the hunt and it's a very exciting day. You fish the match as normal, and then after the match you go back to the digs, then it's showered and changed. The presentation on Friday night has always been at the Killyhevlin Hotel in Enniskillen. Fantastic hotel, and the buzz is always fantastic, and it's not only open, the presentation isn't only open to competitors for the event, so you find that because there are festivals taking place that same week and the following week, you've got anglers coming and going all the time around Enniskillen, so they can come there and see the presentation, and they want to speak to you because they want to know how it's fished, because they're going to be fishing it next week, and the buzz is immense. And obviously if you've done well, then obviously that's a very special night as well. And then you tend to find that vast majority of people will go home on the Saturday morning. Some will go on a really early ferry, those that want to get home for whatever reason, to family or whatever, and the others will cross on a 1 or 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon ferry, and they're usually home by tea time early evening on Saturday, very, very tired out with your kit battered and bruised. But hopefully if you've got a few envelopes, that makes it a little bit more tolerable. So hopefully that didn't ramble too much, but it was the best way I could just kind of describe to the people that haven't been about what it all kind of entails. Now that only leaves actually booking and getting over there and sorting out your ferries and all that sort of stuff. Now I'm sure there are loads of operators that deal with this sort of thing, and I'm sure you can book a lot direct with bed and breakfast and all that sort of stuff, but I've never done that. I've only ever used one company, and that's Island Travel Plus, so I can't comment on any of the others, and I've never asked anybody about any of the others. So I always use Island Travel Plus. I always book through Helen Rainsford, and you know, why change? Everything's been fine. It's been spot on every year. She looks after the ferries for you and all that sort of stuff, and they obviously run the World Pairs as well, so it just all ties in. It makes sense. So that's the only company I can comment on, and I mean, I'll put the link at the bottom underneath the video for you if anybody wants to check them out. And you know, like I say, why would I change when they've been spot on every time? So that's it. Probably not a video a lot of you guys wanted to see that have been, who are veterans of going over there and will continue to do so for many years, but there's a lot of people out there that are always asking me about just the ins and outs of these competitions. They like to see the results, but they don't always quite know how they can get there and put it all together and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully this has helped a lot of you guys out. So thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Apologies this has come on a little bit late tonight, but obviously there's no rush to watch these videos, so please let me know what you think below. If it's been of use to you, hopefully it has. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, just click that subscribe button. Video every night through January, as you know. So I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully not quite as late as this one's gone on, but you'll definitely have a video again tomorrow. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it, and I hope to see some of you in Ireland next year. Thanks for watching.